Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I kind of want to talk about the Panthers schedule. I've had some time to kind of think about it, where I kind of see, where of our wins, where of our, must wins. Like it says, there's going to be some very, very tough stretches along the schedule. So kind of like talking about it. Obviously, I'll be more in depth about the NFL as a whole later on. I also have a video coming out in the next couple of days about my 10 bold predictions for this upcoming season. So look forward for that. But without further ado, let's go into the actual Panther schedule. Now, our schedule release video, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but again, I think, like I said, I like the fact that we did like a bomb squad kind of thing. And like I said, it was interesting. It wasn't, AI slop that some people were trying to do. But, it is what it is. But what I am excited about is obviously there are a lot of additions that we made this year. A lot of the hype. We actually have 3 primetime games, which is crazy. We have our first Sunday night football game since like 2016. Our first time like hosting since like 2015. So that's gonna be special. So there's a lot of hype coming into the season, and when there is a lot of hype, a lot of fans tend to go too far. I've seen some people try to say like 12-5 and stuff like that. I just think that's way too much. So try and kind of temper expectations while also thinking like realistically, how do we match up well against these teams, and also when we play them. So starting off week 1, we have the Bears. So we're hosting for the first time week 1. I think like since about 2022, 2023 around that time. So it's been a minute. But going against the Bears, and yes, there is some changes for the Bears. Obviously, like I said, you did lose Declan Doyle, but again, it's Ben Johnson-led offense. And then the Panthers, on the other hand, we are going to different transition as far as like, now Brad Isaac is the new offense coordinator. Well, he's been the offense coordinator, now the offensive play caller. And so how is that going to transition into that first week? And that's where I'm a little concerned about. I think that on paper, you could say that the Bears and the Panthers are pretty close. I mean, like I think both of us are going to have really solid defenses, not like dominant defenses, but like pretty solid defenses with the dishes that both of us made. And our offenses can be really good, though sometimes they like even the Bears last year too had these spells where it was just like, what is going on? Then in the fourth quarter they would just, come alive. So I'm gonna give us an L on the week 1 against the Bears. I think the Bears, you know, still keeping that same, like I said, Ben Johnson led offense. That like, they've already been in that system for another year. With us, yes, it's technically Brad Isaac has been a part of that scheme, but it's just a different play caller. And how is that really going to work in week 1? It's going to suck for the home team, but I do think that we'll fall in week 1. So starting off 0-1. Then going to week 2, I'm actually going to be going to this game with my dad and my sister, and that is the Panthers going to the Falcons. Now, for some odd reason, and I have no idea why, but Bryce Young just plays really daggone well against the Falcons, and I think it's going to carry over today. Now, for this game, the fact that Falcons are coming into the season with the brand new scheme. Obviously, you're hoping they get the ground running, but a lot of times there can be like little, there can be some friction, especially where. How confident do we feel with the quarterback situation? Where it could be Tua, Michael Penix. When is he going to be coming back? And there's going to be a lot of upheaval for the first year for the Falcons and the new regime. And so, in my opinion, I think the Falcons might not like take a slight step back from overachieving what they did last year. Not really overachieving, but more so just making 8-9. I think they're actually going to take a little step back with the new regime, but you're going to see some good things come about. Hopefully, their defense continue to get better. But I just think like early on in the season, typically what Bryce does against the Falcons, division game, very important game for us. And also, I'm going to the game, so kind of hoping that we win. So I got the Falcons losing to the Panthers. Panthers start off 1-1. Week 3 at the Browns. The Browns are a dangerous team just because of their defense alone. Like obviously, their offense is a little bit where you're a little concerned about it. Like, okay, how's it really going to work? But they got new weapons. They got Casey Conception. They got Denzel Boston. They revamped their offensive line, and there's a lot of hope of what what the Browns could be. However, the quarterback situation is just not great. And like, yeah, you could be like, well, maybe Shadur takes the next step. Hopefully he does. Hopefully for his career he does. Or it's Deshaun Watson, and who really wants to be supporting Deshaun Watson? Like, I understand, like I said, he's on your team, but like, I don't know if you can really support him. And So it's a very missed situation for the Browns. Honestly, I think like I said, they've got a good like bones around there, but that central the central nervous system, they need that quarterback, and they don't have that right now. And I think it's going to hurt them this year, into where you're going to start to see like this team start to build and start to form. They just got to get the quarterback right, and that's probably going to go into the draft or potentially free agency, whatever might happen from there. So I got the Browns losing to the Panthers again. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Browns, and so Panthers start off 2-1. So going into Week 4, which is the Sunday night football game. So again, it's been over 10 years since we had a Sunday night football game. So it is home. The fans are going to be rocking. It's against the Lions. Like I said, it's a great matchup. I'm super excited for it. And as much as I really want to believe in the Lions, with it being a home game and just how loud it was for the playoffs, for the playoff game, this Sunday night football game is going to be so loud. I'm really hoping and praying that like the TV broadcast can really capture like when the bank is rocking, it is so loud. I mean, it's like one of the bigger stadiums in the NFL that isn't really talked about enough, but it's one of the bigger stadiums in the NFL. And like when it's rocking, it's rocking. I'm going to give us the win. I think it's going to be a hard fought battle. I think it's going to be a very close game. Obviously, like I said, how is our run defense going to be going against Jameer Gibbs led running game with David Montgomery being gone? Obviously, bringing Isaiah Pacheco, but still, like this, going to be mainly Jameer Gibbs. And can our secondary match up well against their very, very talented group of wide receivers? So I'm super excited for that matchup. Obviously, going to be streaming it. But I'm going to give the Panthers the win just because of the home crowd. I think that gives a little bit of a slight edge. So going into Week 5 bye, we are looking at 4-1. And if you're a Panthers fan, it has been forever since we started a season this good. And there's going to be a lot of hype for us, like, like, oh, we're going to do so well. Da, 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 da. And that's where we get a little bit dangerous because, again, a lot of times when we start getting a little too much hype, we're going to fall flat in our face. And it happens every single time. So now we're going to a very tough stretch from week 6 to I'd say about week 6 to week 12. Like I said, there is not really I don't want to say cupcake. There's never really any cupcakes. But there's not really like a place where I'm like, oh yeah, no, I feel pretty confident we can win. It's going to be a struggle. So starting off, coming off the bye, because we're coming off a bye, because of the fact that like I don't think this team is going to be as good as they were. We are at Philadelphia. I think obviously the national media is still going to be hyping up Philly, but I'm still very concerned. Yes, you traded for Jonathan Grenard, and Jonathan Grenard has done well for the Vikings. However, the thing that plagued him when he was at Texans, when he was at the Vikings, is his run defense, and that's been atrocious. Just gets out of position, da da da, and that's what the Panthers want to do. So if I'm looking at our offensive line versus their defensive line, we have two amazing guards with Robert Hunt coming back. Because obviously, like I said, not last year because last year he got hurt, but the year before he had a Pro Bowl. Damian Lewis was on that kind of level as well. He was having an amazing year. If both of them are there, I feel great about their matchup against Jordan Davis and also Jalen Carter. And if I'm looking at the Eagles' edge rushers, none of them really like concern me that much. Like I'm not like losing sleep over Josh. So I think it's a pretty decent edge rusher, but I'm like, oh no, it's Josh Hunt. Or I'm not like, oh no, it's Nolan Smith. Oh no, it's Jonathan Grenard. I don't feel that way about their edge group. And the same thing for the Panthers. But if I'm looking at our offensive line versus their defensive line, I feel like we can be able to get movement. I think that it's going to be a very, very like heavy running kind of game. I think that, like I said, uh, I think that our defense, who has created a lot of turnovers, I think getting Devin Lloyd is a big impact player for us in this game against Philly. My prediction is Devin Lloyd makes a very important turnover that sets the game and sets us up for a victory. I think it's going to be like a walk off field goal kind of game. Ryan Fitzgerald comes in the clutch, and we escape Philadelphia with a win and a much needed win, and to start to get a lot more people on our side. Then week 17, not week 17, goes week 7. Week 7 going against Buccaneers. This is the second divisional game, and as a home game for us. Obviously, super important. Buccaneers choked last year. Are they going to choke this year again? So We're hoping to try to keep our momentum going. And because we had that exhilarating win against Philadelphia, coming home, we are literally 4-1. We're looking pretty daggum good. Let's try to get another marquee win. Home crowd can help us out. I think we beat the Buccaneers. I do think that we split the Buccaneers. I think that's like there's no way we sweep them. But I think being a home crowd, being like said on this this run, we're starting to feel pretty confident about ourselves, and we beat the Buccaneers. So again, I know you can make a comment right now if you want to, but I know it looks kind of weird. Like how in the world the Panthers fought 5-1? I want to explain something to you. I really feel like the Panthers can have a hot start. But then what they're going to do is start to fall flat on their faces and start to have some more doubt creep in, like, is this team actually legit, or did the teams they beat are not as good as we thought? Because I think that Philly and the Lions could be good, but I think they're going to be a little bit less than what people are expecting them to be. So going to week 8, Thursday night football at the Packers, it is going to be very hard for me to pick the Panthers to beat the Packers once again in Lambeau, mainly because like that game was like not the death sentence, but it was like very much the oh my gosh, the Packers like they just lost to the Panthers. How unbelievable this happened! Like I remember what happened. I was literally watching the game, not even believing what I was seeing, and that team is going to want to get revenge. It being still at Lambeau on Thursday Night Football, primetime game, I got the Packers winning. And again, like I said, it's going to be a very tough stretch. We're against some very great opponents that I just don't think that we'll get unscathed over the next couple of weeks. So losing to the Packers, we fall to 5-2, still looking pretty good, and then go home week 9. Um, and you go against the Broncos. At this point, Bo Nix is at full strength. Your defense is still good. Not even good. It still should be like top 3 if we're going to be honest. And as much as I want us to be, I want us to be like a competitive team. And the teams that we beat last year have very very um, big concerns. Like talk about the Rams cornerback room. We talk about the Packers and their run stuffing ability. Like I said, and we were able to exploit that. I don't think we can really exploit the Broncos' weaknesses, though I hope that we could. But I just think that the Broncos win against us. It's a hard fought game, but at the end of the day, I think the Broncos are the better team, and we fall once again. So back to back losses, week 9, and we are going to be 5-3, which is again still great, still looking great. Two great teams that we just lost to, and like I said, sure there might be some doubt creeping in, like are we legitimate, or is just like no, just a rough stretch. Then at the Saints in week 10, and over the last about 5-ish years, really even more than that. The Panthers have very much struggled at the Saints. I think we've won over the last like 10 years. I think we've won like maybe twice. It's been that bad. And I think considering that we lost 2 straight, I want us to give the benefit of the doubt that we can be able to bounce back in a place that we really shouldn't, because that's just how we tend to do. Like we tend to bounce back when we really shouldn't, and we falter when we shouldn't. It's very frustrating sometimes to watch. So as much as I'm very high on the Saints, I think that we can steal the game at the Saints. I think that gives the confidence like we're holy crap. It's week 10. We're 3-0 in the division. We're 6-3. So we have the edge over the Saints. We have the edge of the Buccaneers. I think are going to be close. I mean, similar to us in as a far record, like maybe like that 5-4 range. But I think they're going to be similar as far as in record. And we have the confidence that like, okay, we just have to keep hold of this. Keep hold of this lead. Don't let it go. So because I think that it's going to be very competitive in the NFC South this year. Going to the next 3 weeks, um, I think these are very flawed teams: Ravens, Bucks, and Vikings. But I think the fact that um, we're going to be battered by this point. I think that there's going to be a major injury, probably like week like 9, week 10. That's going to kind of like have us falter somewhat in the middle part of the season. Week 10, week 11 gets the Ravens. I want to believe in the Ravens. I want to believe that Jesse Minter is going to go like all of a sudden first year it's going to be roses. I just don't have faith that it's going to be that way, and I don't believe that it's just going to be a magical turnaround. I mean, like um, even with McDaniel. I mean, like for the Seahawks, it was like what he was 10-7 his first year, which is still great, like amazing. Um, and so, like I said, I think that'd be similar for the Ravens, but I think that how healthy is Lamar going to be? How healthy is Derrick Henry going to be? How healthy really is like says how is their offensive line going to shake out? How is a lot of my concerns are for their offense. Um, is the regression of Rashad Bateman just a 1 year effect, or is it going to happen in year two? And also being a new offense, there's a lot of questions. And so in my mind, it being a home game, could this be a little bit of a homer pick of me? Sure, but I'm going to take us against the Ravens mainly because I feel like there's a lot of questions about the offense. Maybe they start to gel by week 11, but what if injuries start happening? That's been a concern for the Ravens for quite some time. So I'm going to take us against the Ravens. However, Monday Night Football, Week 12, again, primetime game. Love us having a third primetime game, but we just defeated the Buccaneers. I don't think that we'll sweep them. It being at the Buccaneers, excuse me. Sorry. It being at the Buccaneers, it being a super important game for them to try to stay within the division because it can't be swept by us or like yes, else their division chances are blown. I think we lose that game. Like I said, I think the Buccaneers are going to be a very feisty team. Obviously, this is probably going to be Todd Bowles' last year. I'll be very surprised if he stays because unless, like I said, he wins the playoff game, that's the only way he can save them. Because again, I don't think that. I really do feel like the Buccaneers are like brass. Just like, how much longer can we really stay with them? Legitimately, I won't go down the rabbit hole, but it is something. Some of my concerns is for the Buccaneers of what they could be in the future. And then week 13, add the Vikings. I think it's kind of similar with my feeling for the Vikings, feelings for the Ravens. I just don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions for the Vikings right now. Obviously, like I said, the thought is, oh, well, Kyler Murray is going to finally go to a competent place and he's going to thrive. And we hope so. But are we totally sure? Like, sure, could it be like a Sam Darnold that, totally revives? Absolutely. But it also couldn't. Like, we really just don't know. I don't feel great about their running back room. Obviously, like I said, Aaron Jones is getting older. Jordan Mason not that great. So again, don't feel great about their run game, not at all. You could talk about the fact that their defense should still be good, but how well is their safety play going to be? Considering they have Harrison Smith, who's old ancient Harrison Smith. Um, I don't feel great about. I mean, I think their cornerback room is pretty decent, but like I'm not like scared of Byron Murphy. I'm not scared of Isaiah Rogers. So can T Mac do really well against them? I think that he can, especially Jalen Coker as well. Like I feel confident enough with our wide receiver room against a good secondary that they can actually dice them up. So I'm gonna give us again. I think the Vikings are gonna be very scrappy. I think they're gonna win some games they probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna give us a win against the Vikings. And so going into week 14, we're looking pretty daggum good. I mean, like right now we only have 4 losses. We got we were 8 wins. We're looking pretty daggum good, and we're looking like a competitor for the NFC. I think that we have that kind of vibe of taking the next step. Can we sustain that success? I don't think so. I think that we'll start off strong. I think we'll temper off, and you'll start to see in the back half where we'll definitely be struggling, and we might get a win or two there, but I think that we're going to struggle, and I do think we're going to lose our grasp on the NFC South. I think initially we'll have it. I think we'll have for a couple of weeks and look like we can be able to keep it, and then bottom falls out. We drop. Talking week 14 against the Saints, I don't think we see the Saints. Obviously, would love to see the Saints. I just don't see it happening. I see the fact that we stole the game at the Saints. I think the Saints are ticked off. They're like, we want to win this division. We have the team to be able to do so. and we struggled against the Saints for a very long time. I just I just don't see us sweeping them. Them coming into our stadium hurts in beating us, but it happened last year. And again, they weren't as good as they're going to be this year. So I got the Saints beating us in week 14. Week 15, Bengals partially is me just feeling for some reason. Like I said, obviously, we want to hope that Joe Burrow is going to be healthy the whole entire season. I just don't know if that's going to be the case. Um, how well is their defense going to transition? Obviously, they made some moves. Obviously, getting Dexter Lawrence. Obviously, going after edge rushers. How is that going to transition to where I really, really don't love their linebacker room? I think their linebacker room is, I don't want to say the worst, but it's pretty down. It's pretty far down below. Like I said, a lot of these other teams. Like I said, how well are their linebackers going to do? Um, Obviously, Dexter Lawrence kind of helps that, but how well is that going to do? The safety room, I'm not like in love with their safety room. I like that the fact that they went out, they got Brian Cook, so that should help him out a little bit more. But and then I think Jordan Battle's pretty decent, but like I think that we'll be able to go over the top on some of these, on especially some of these corners who are feisty. But I think that T Mac is going to be able to out physical them, and he's going to be a big reason why we can be able to beat the Bengals. Um, our cornerback room against their wide receivers, obviously they have the advantage, but I think that they're going to have J.C. Horn on Jamar Chase and hopefully limit the explosiveness and just have Mike Jackson, he's a very physical corner, done really well against bigger wide receivers. He himself, like, what, six? I think he's like 6 foot, 6'1", can match up well against T. Higgins. I think that that's going to be the difference maker in us being able to contain the Bengals from being super explosive and just be able to just grind out against the Bengals. And like I said, have T Mac go off. I think T Mac's going to have a great game in that one, and us get the win against the Bengals. Week 16 at the Steelers. I just don't believe the Steelers. I really don't. Like, I understand, like I said, their ownership wants them to still be competitive. Their ownership still wants to say, "Oh, we got Aaron Rodgers. We're still, like, our window's still open." They just need to suck right now. Because, like I said, right now I just don't feel confident that they'll do any better than maybe 9-8, maybe if that. I feel confident. Yes, it's probably cold. It could be a snow game, which that will impact how I feel like we'll do in the snow because we're not going to be used to it. But very important game. I think we win it, and right now we're looking at being 10-5. 10-5, almost very much secure in the playoff. But with the Saints, with the Bucks still on our tail to try to win the division. I don't think the Falcons are going to be close to getting the division, but I do think they can cause some havoc. Last 2 weeks versus Seahawks versus Falcons, we have two back-to-back home games where all we got to do is win one of them to secure the division and secure a home playoff game. Obviously, Seahawks, I don't think we win that. Seahawks are going to be too daggum good. Their defense is too daggum good. And even though our defense held them in check for about 3-ish quarters, and then the fourth quarter, it was too much because of our turnovers that we had on offense. I just still believe that the Seahawks are a very good team. They're going to be competing for the number one seed, them and the Rams. And like I said, I just don't see us beating the Seahawks unless, like I said, Bryce just has an amazing game, which I'm hoping that he steps up. But obviously, that's hard to do against an elite defense. Week 18. Yes, Bryce has normally just dominated the Falcons. Has some of his best performances. I was already there when he set the franchise record for passing yards in a game. But I don't know why, but I just feel like we're going to have a little bit of a disappointment this year, into where it's like we're making strides, we're getting better, but there's still something missing. And I don't know why, but even though the Falcons have no shot of making the division, no shot of coming to anywhere close to the playoffs, and in fact probably hurt their draft stock, we got lucky last year with the Falcons beating the Saints. How ironic would it be that all we got to do is beat the Falcons and we can't do that? And we fail, we lose the division to the Saints. Saints end up beating the Buccaneers, they win the division, and then we end as the 7th seed. Instead of hosting a playoff game, we become the 7th seed, 10-7. That's my final prediction. So from week 12 on, we pick up four more losses, and it's like, where it's, are they contenders? Are they not contenders? And I just feel like that's probably how it's going to be. Now, maybe I might be wrong about like who we exactly we lose to, but I feel like we're making strides to be better. But can we prove to be consistent enough? That's my main concern. I don't know necessarily if we can be. Obviously, like I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Maybe might be like maybe if you want me to kind of explain some more about like why I feel kind of confident with either us losing or how I don't feel confident with us winning against certain teams. I'd love to do that. I just don't want to make this like a 45-minute long video if I wanted to go into detail. But thanks so much for watching. As always, I'd love to hear your comments in the comments below. Thanks so much, and share this video with your friends. And like I said, I will have the 10 bowl predictions for the upcoming NFL season coming out in the next couple of days as well. So I'll see you next one. Bye.